Okay, so I can't get this key depth out of my mind. Otherwise, the my part's done. I've got everything. You know, everything's cut the dimensions. I compared. I swapping numbers. Everything's within more than acceptable tolerances. I mean, I'm like 9 thou taller on a thread that doesn't really make a difference. The thread's a little bit gnarly by my standards, which is probably horrible by most others. But this key seat depth is just killing me. So I thought, hey, what would Tom Lipton do, right? Yeah, he would make a video on how to line this key seat back up and cut it again. So that's what I'm going to do. When I'm out is, I think I measured this, it's got a depth of 86 thou. Now, I tried to use the Bible here, and I was using the math, doing tables, blah, 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 and I was getting closer, and it was taking me a while. And I thought, you know what, screw it. I don't need to do that. I've got a reference. So I know this part worked at one point, so I'm just going to copy it now. There really wasn't any major damage on this part. I mean, this is just the press. It's the bearing journal that got nangled. So I just measured the depth. And what did I end up with? 128 thou, I think it was. Max. I took it several times. No, sorry. It was just a shy of 125, so an eighth. Anyway, mine has got a depth of 87 thou. So yeah, we're looking at 40 thou, which is significant. So anyway, I'm going to cut it. So now obviously everybody sees this hanging out, and there's a reason for that. My dilemma, and the reason why I struggled with the idea of redoing this key seat, was alignment. So it's a 3/16 key, and all I've got is 3/16 end mills. So that's what I used to cut this, and I got away with it. And it's not the best way to go about it, but I managed to. And the mill I'm using is a little bit gnarled, so I'm actually surprised I cut such a good keyway with it. So this is what my concern is with trying to dial it back in again and recut this seat. So I was staring at this, and you know, screw it, let's pop this out. And I was staring at my part, just like this, and I was comparing the two of them. And I had an Isaac Newton moment. Nothing landed on my head, but I was looking at this spot here where I touched off. It was bugging me. And I thought about cleaning it up, and I was staring at it. And I'm like, well, you know what? That'd be awesome if I could reference that to line this up in the center of this in the mill square to reseat this key. And I'm like, well, you know, I can run up a dial. I could measure this, run it down, measure it again, tweak. And then I thought, hey, hold on. Why don't I just take a piece of key stock, jam it in there, and then put this in the vise. I can just tram it vertically. Off, give it a wiggle, off, give it a wiggle, you know, screw it up. I mean, it's going to be sitting here to give you a better idea, right? So let me see if I can get that in there quick and easy. Yeah, so it's going to sit like that in the vise. And when it's off, you know, it's off a little bit this way, and I run a dial up and down it, you know, tweak. Now, granted, you know, it's going to be pretty finicky, but I think I can do it. Now, the next problem there is this key, although it fits perfectly snug this way with all this engagement, when I put it in here, it actually has a little bit of wiggle room. So I can wiggle this independently. Right? It floats inside there. So the next thought is, well, I used an end mill to cut that. See, I've got that rad down there. So what I did was, I had it sitting there, and I didn't want to go too hard with it. But, so I put it in there, right? And I tap it down into that rad. Well, that stiffens everything up, and it seats it nicely. So now I've got a nice sturdy reference. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in the mill, and I'm going to drop it in, and same way I did before. I know the vise doesn't move, but I'll check it again. And I'll tram the vise, make sure that's good. I'll drop this in, and I'll tram it this way. Well, I can't bother with it. I got to do this first. I'll get that nice and good, and if it sits okay, then I'll run a dial this way, make sure I'm not varying, and I'm going to give it a go. I'll bring the tooling over, the ML over based on math, and see how close I get, and I'll drop it in there. And this key slot here has no meaning. Actually, I'm kind of surprised they cut the key this way. I thought it'd just be blind. And I guess they slotted the whole thing for production purposes. But so, anyways, in here it doesn't make a difference. So I may take a pass up into here just a little bit, make sure I'm not mangling it. And if I don't mangle it, then I may continue forward with the whole thing. The option is to grind down the key. Unfortunately, 40 thous, that's a pretty healthy number. I really don't want to do that. So anyway, I mean, it's only a 3/16 key, and I'm cutting nearly, what, 2/3 of a 16th off. That's a lot. So anyways, so that's what I'm going to do. Thought I was done. Found a way to make it longer. So anyways, I'll come back to you when I've got it all set up in the mill. Okay, we're back. So I was dialing this in. I thought, you know what? Hey, this is something I haven't seen before, so I thought I'd post it just so everybody can see exactly how I got to where I am. So now I've got the part in there, and this is 4 thou shim. Yeah, 4 thou shim stock. And so I've kind of wrapped it so it goes around the outside. I didn't want to mar my part. Forgive the gnarly cut. Do what you can. So anyways, I haven't gotten into the math yet to get this over to here, or get that centered. What I'm trying to do is establish my squareness, if that's a word, of my key seat to the quill. So my concern was, well, it's twofold. One, that I don't line up perfectly vertical, or perfectly true, like I come off my datum here and I move over and I come down on top of my key seat. That's my first concern. My second concern, well, I got to get that number accurate, but my second concern is that my part is off axis. I need to make sure it's square, because if it's not square, then I cut the bottom of my key seat on an angle, and I'll screw up the wall. I'll take more off one side than the other, and then everything's going to be loosey-goosey, and it's just going to suck. So, like I said earlier, my brainwave idea was to put my key on its end, and then to tighten it up, just gently tap her down into the rad. On the I don't know if it's get a good angle on that or not. Yeah, tap her down into the rad there, just to butt it up against something, to stiffen it up, because on its end it kind of wiggles a little bit. So anyway, I've got that in there. So, and I've got the dial set up, and it's not the best setup. Again, I don't have what I need to really do this well. But so I got it set up, and I'm sweeping up and down the key stock, and I'm looking for variation. And then I'm adjusting the axis until I can get that true. And when I'm looking at true, I don't want to see any movement. You know, I can't get inside tenths, which, you know, would be nice. It'd be here forever, and I don't have anything handy to actually measure that tight. So anyways, all I'm looking for is 0 movement on that dial. Let me see if I can take a sweep here. I've made a couple passes. I've made a couple passes already. Let's check, hold this phone properly here. So I'll take that off. And so where am I at? Focus on that or not? Oh, I'm getting too closer. Yeah. This is 6. There we go. So I'm at 58. At the top, I'm going to go down as far as I can go. There we go. Now I'm at 57. All right. So there's adjustment to be made there. So I'm gonna come back up. My little lock back on there. You know, I've got the vise snug, but I should be able to turn this ever so slightly. So now I'm moving the dial in more at the top. Okay, so that means I'm from base to top, I'm going this way. So I'm trying to keep it straight. So now I'm going to move it, if I can, ever so slightly. There's a thou, but it's going to be more in a thou. So I'm going to go to there. So now I'm on 55. Let's take another sweep, see what happens. Where am I at? Still at 55? Just ever so slight. So I'm going to do another one. Just a smidge. Let's try that. About 54 and a half. Hmm. 54 a third. Wow. How tight's that? Oh, I think I butted up against something. Yeah, I bottomed out. Let's make sure my dial's still good here. Yeah, okay. I'm still good. Yeah, believe it or not, that harsh motion there, that's actually how smooth this quill moves. So I'm within tenths as far as I can trust this beat on indicator. So I think I'm good. All right. So there we have it. That's what I needed to do. Let's see if my focus can come back in here. Anyway. So now I'm as good as I'm going to get as far as I'm concerned this way. And so now I'm going to take the key stock out. I'm going to make sure I'm squared that way, or I'm level. So I know I'm good here. And I'm going to tighten that down. And then the next order of business is zeroing off the back of the fixed jaw, coming forward and getting center with top of that key. And what I might do is I might glue that in there a little bit, and I'll make sure I'm evenly taking off the bottom. And I'll probably do the sides too, make sure that I won't be able to get bang on center, but hopefully it'll be taking off equally. And if I blew it, if I absolutely nail it and I drop that end mill cutter inside that slot, I guess there is the vague possibility that I won't remove the bluing on either side. But if I do blue it and I drop the key in there and I'm losing it on one side, not the other, I know I need a tiny adjustment before I get too aggressive with cutting the key. So there you go. There's that part of the process. I'm going to put my phone down now, and I'm going to set up for the next part. Talk to you soon. And quickly, we're back. All right, so I just finished dialing in my axes. Okay, so now I'm running true this way as far as the key seat, right? So now this is true. It's not doing that, or at least as best as I can figure it. Next step was actually to tram the part. So what's happened is it's sitting, this U-piece shape of shim stock. It's sitting on that, and then I've got it down on the thickest diameter, largest diameter, and that's what I'm using for my reference for my horizontal plane. So what I needed to do is I've got the dial on the key seat, okay, and then I tram back and forth, and I'm looking for a variation on the dial. Now I've got it loaded up just a little bit. I'll focus in a second. Give me a heartbeat here. But so I've got it sitting on 80 right now because this dial's so messed. It's horribly dirty. So just for sake of being able to see it somewhat, it's sitting on 80. So now the trick here is, I don't know if I can pull this off or not. Use my band. So now I need to tram to the other side. So where are we at? We're at 80. Trying to get that to focus in a little bit better for you guys. Not quite. Anyway, so we're at 80. And you'll see a little bit of movement, and that's just the flakiness of my setup here. But we're looking for a consistent number all the way across. And just crank this around, get this going a little faster. Sorry for the movement, guys. Boom. All right, so my full distance, and I'm just a fraction below 80 over the course of, I don't know, 2.5 inches. Now I'm going to go back the other way. So right now I'm on 87 again. That's the flaky nature of my setup. Or sorry, not 87, 79. And I get to the end. And I'm not on 80. So there's a good shot if I got maybe about an inch, or a thou across the 2.5 inches. Good enough for this guy. Again, this is the only part that matters. So, I mean, even if, I'm a thou out there, I don't really care. So, there you go. We're all set up. I've got the vise all locked down already. Next step is to zero off my datum, come over and make sure I'm dropping my key properly. And then I'm going to blue a section, make sure I'm hitting it right, and I'm cutting on all sides properly. All right, back in a sec. Okay, quickly. So I've done this 4 times now, and I'm still just barely catching. It's just barely getting hung up. Now, this could be a rotational problem. Maybe I didn't get it all that great with that key. It could be a slight problem with my math. Although that's why I did it so many times. I'm fairly certain the math's bang on. Could be just a little bit of crud on the between the shim and the fixed jaw. Could be a handful of things, but it's barely off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into this section here, just past the threaded portion, and I'm going to try to get it in there and get it to slip nice and clean. And I'm going to blue that section, and I'm going to spin up the mill. And I'm going to see how clean I can clean this part up here. And if I can get everything square, I'm going to go ahead. If not, screw it. I'm not going to trash this part for sake of even though it is 40 thou. Okay, so here's what's happened. So I was hitting, let's see if I can do something a little bit better here. There we go. Where am I? All right, so I was just clipping this side of my keyway. So what I did was I said screw it, and I went into manual mode. I threw away the numbers, and I adjusted thou at a time until it just slipped past. And that's this first mark right over here that you see. And you can see it comes down a little bit. I don't know if I can zoom into that or not. I'm going to give it a go. Yep, we're still looking okay. So anyways, so this one here, that was the first attempt. So then what I did is I adjusted it a couple more thou, and I tried again, and I plunged again, and there's the result. Now, on the opposite side, I'm not going to move the camera, I've got it resting up against the mill. That's the only reason why I got this shot right now, is there's nothing here. It's not touching that. So then I adjusted it again, and that's just see right there, that line. That was the third attempt. So I was running out of some real estate, so then I went over to the other side. Now I'm back over here, actually, and I know it's a little confusing. And I adjusted just a hair more, and so I'm missing here, and I'm actually still missing on this side. So now I'm floating somewhere in the middle. It's probably as good as I'm going to get it, so I'm not going to try any harder. Next, I'm going to bring it back over to here, just in this section, just past the threaded section. I'm going to turn on the mill. Like I said, it's a little clunky, so I'm not trusting the bearings 100%. And I'm going to just drop that end mill in there and see what happens on either side. See what kind of witness marks I get. If I don't get any, which is fairly unlikely, then I'm gold. If I'm heavy on one side, I'll make a minor adjustment. I'll darken it again. I'll shift a little, and I'll take another drop. Hopefully, a couple attempts, I'll be bang on. I'm already at a point now where I think I can drop that in there, and visually the keyway will be fine, but I just might loosen up the key stock just a little bit. So that's the process. That's where I'm going to go. And when I've got this up to speed too, I'll actually see how I come into the base of the keyway here, whatever the hell you call the damn thing, the seat, and I can see whether or not I'm square. Because if I'm square, I'll take cleanly across the whole thing. If I'm off kilter a little bit, if I'm off axis, it'll be heavy on one side and next to nothing on the other. All right, back in a second. I took I turned on the mill and I attempted to take I dropped the end mill down on the slot, and I didn't get any witness marks, which is really odd. I expected to get something on one side. So I'm going to attempt to do this with the camera going. So I'm going to have one hand on my phone, and I'm going to work the knee with the other side. I don't trust the quill, so I'm going to bring it down only a little bit. I'm going to lock it down, and then I'm going to crank the knee to get it up. And I'm going to try to zero off actually to the seat, and hopefully everything works out well as rain. So bear with me for a second here. What I'll probably do is I'm going to kill the audio when I start up. Well, when I go to edit this video, I'm going to kill the audio because the noise out of this mill it's horrible. Yeah, so I'm not going to put you through it. But so if it goes quiet, that's why. So I'm going to drop the quill to say, well, okay, say now I need to make an adjustment. All right, so I'm going to have to lock that down. And then I'll come down here. I'll prop my camera phone up here. All right. Okay, apology for the lack of sound, guys. Okay, and we're back. All right, so I got a little deep there. Let me zero my knee here, and I'll crank it back down. Okay. So, what are we going to do here? I know what we're going to do. I don't trust this dial. Bear with me, I'll be right back, guys. Okay, we're back quickly. So, I said just before the end of the last little segment there, I don't trust the dials on this machine. So, I'm using a dial, or sorry, I don't trust the hand wheel increments on this machine. So I'm using a dial on pretty much every operation. So I've set this up and I loaded it up. So what I'm going to do is I came down at just a tad heavy to see whether or not I came down square. What I can say, I don't know if I can get in there tight enough. I'm going to try. See if she focuses in or not. There we go. So I got into it okay. And as you can see, I am perfect on that side. I'm not touching anything as far as the sides of my key seat. And on the other side, same thing. I don't know how I managed to do that, but there you go. So my next step is I'm just going to back out. Oh, sorry, wrong way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I'm going to come off this way a little bit more. Now that I know I'm square to my key seat, I'm going to come back and I'm going to touch off and just barely scrape it because that's what I need to know. I need to just touch that, and then I'm going to zero my dial, and then I go down to the 40 thou, take a couple passes. Well, it's only 40 thou, but I'll probably do 2 passes at 20 just because it's the way I like to do things. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, back again. So what you saw there was me just touching off. Now, I've got it's just a tiny, I mean minuscule amount heavy to the right side there in the picture. But I still have contact pretty much all the way around. It's extremely close. Yeah, it might be, yeah, just ever so slightly heavier on the other side. So I'm happy. Like we're not even talking thousands here. It's next to nothing. So I'm content. I'm going to take an attempt at making this keyway deeper. Anyways, so what happened was when I touched off, before I moved, I touched off, I stopped the mill, and I zeroed my dial, which is down here. I don't know if I'm going to focus back in. There we go. Focus is slow, sorry. There it is. So I zeroed in that. I backed up 100 thou just so I could take the camera shot. So now I know where my zero is. I'm doing everything with the knee. I don't trust the quill. So I'm going to come back and come down. I'm probably going to do 10 thou just to see how everything is, and take a nice light pass and go from there. Play it by ear. I know I need to go 40. 40 is exactly what I need. It might be a hair heavy on a couple thou, but I'd rather be just a fraction too deep than too high, right? So I'll be right back. Okay, so quickly, I finished my first pass, 10 thou pass. You can still see the black or bluing there. You can still see it on the other side. So I'm pretty content. So I'm going to whip off its next two passes, pull it out, clean it up a little bit. Okay, and quickly we're back. Again, sorry for cutting away like that, guys. Make sure my ringer's at 0. Go down here. Go for square. What have I got? 126. Golden. Let's try that again. $127. 127.5. 126. I don't know. Yeah, I think what I need to do is, I need to clean up the burrs. Clean that up a little bit, and I'll take some accurate measurements. This one-hand thing isn't really working when you're not using the proper tool. But anyways, guys, so I think that turned out fantastic. I still have some of that bluing. Yep, great. Where's my key? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Ha! I got away with it. I'm so happy. Thanks for watching, guys.